The hardest part about being a servant is when nobody's listening. And sometimes it's very like, I don't even know how to explain, but discouraging. Makes you feel like, oh, there's nobody who listens. But it's also like when you remember what the scriptures say, how there's just going to be many who aren't listening, many are going to be on the broad path, many. It's just like, then you know why, okay, this is why it's happening. But it's one of those things, though. It's like, it's the toughest job to do, but it's also the most rewarding job because you get people who do listen. It's, again, those few sheepies that are scattered abroad to the four corners, right? Who have ears to hear. The more you do the work, the more you're gonna come across people who hear. I'm not saying it's like an instant, you find someone who hears. It all depends, because it's also his will whether or not you come across people who hear. But I guess the point of why I'm making this is to the women who might feel discouraged, who are keeping the commandments and trying to share with other women to do so, and like teach the women and things like that, or even children. But then you come across so many Jezebels and they just don't want to hear. It was prophesied, though, to happen, and it sucks. I'm not saying it like, oh yeah, like, no, like, it actually genuinely sucks, like, because you just want these people to hear. It's like you're trying to give them logic and reasoning, and they're like, screw, they just want their own delusion instead. And it's tough because they're not rejecting you, that they're rejecting him, which makes it even worse. But for those who are doing the work, know that Matthew 5 is written to you, and it's not just in Matthew 5, I think it might be in Luke 6, but the beatitudes are written to you. It's for his good and faithful servants, those who are doing the works of the prophets, like entering into the work, right? John 4:34-38, Yeshua talks about entering into the work of the prophets, reaping what they've sown, so together you will rejoice. And so when you think about also how the beatitudes even start, right, when you go back to like Matthew 5, for example, I'm pretty sure, I think it's in that chapter that it says how he's looking at his disciples. He wasn't speaking to everybody. I mean, like, he was probably saying it loud enough, I believe there was a crowd, so he was technically saying it to everyone, but ultimately he was saying it to the disciples. Why? Because look at what they did. They were good and faithful servants, doing what they were called to do. Like Paul, as soon as he repented, basically got his behind to work. You know what I mean? So the Beatitudes are even written for him. It's for those who are laboring for the kingdom. It's those who are laboring for the true gospel, the gospel and the scripture's sake, who are laboring for his name's sake, and things like that. And so right now it's mournful. Right now it's tough. Like, it's like, even I have my days where it's like it's not fun, where I'm just like, I just want to hide, curl up in a ball, and just talk to no one ever again. Like, I have those days where it's tough talking to people who you just come across more who don't hear than the few that do. But the ones that do hear, it makes it worth it. It does make it worth it. But just know, like, this, because I guess I'm saying this because even at times I get tired and stuff, because it's like I'm talking to 25 different people, right? But then it's like somehow they're all like the same, and it's like, and they're not listening. It's like, how? And these people don't even know each other. And I'm just throwing out a number. I'm not literally talking to 25 people, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I just talked to someone like, it's like I'm talking to someone, and I'm like, I just talked to someone like this yesterday, sort of thing. And they're basically saying the same thing. And it's like, you're repeat yourself. But it's also like, I guess, I don't know if I'm wrong about this, but the way how I've been seeing it is also, it's a form of punishment, because it's like, okay, you were stiff-necked and rebellious before, and so since you were, now you're going to deal with these stiff-necked and rebellious people. It's also like you got almost like a little taste of what the Father has to deal with, because he's been dealing with us for thousands of years now, and it's just day in, day out since the beginning of the garden, where people just want to do what they want to do instead of doing what he called us to do. But anyways, be encouraged by the beatitudes, the ones who are doing what the scriptures say, the ones who are, like Romans 10, proclaiming, how blessed, are the feet of those who, I don't know if it's preach the gospel of peace, the way how it's worded there, but basically, blessed are those who are preaching the gospel. Blessed are those who have entered into the work. Blessed are those who are keeping the commandments, teaching others to do so. Like, there's blessings for you because of your obedience to him, because of your love for him and your love for his people. Because it's not just like a little, okay, I'm gonna just do this to do this, but it's like that love and his conviction is what helps people. It helps me to keep going, and I know it helps others to keep going, because it gets tiring. This is why we have to have the Ephesians 6 holy armor on. And really, something that I've been realizing within myself is really, we got to stay in the word, in prayer. We have to have that genuine connection with him. Otherwise, that's why Yeshua says, about enduring till the end. Because if it was such an easy job, then there wouldn't be like a need for endurance. But there's a need for it. Just know that he woke you up for a reason. He has you awake for, like, in this time right now, when there's billions of people who are asleep, so that you can possibly go wake up some more sheep, whether it's a few, whether it's like 20 sheep, 50, 100, who knows how many sheep, right? Because we're all scattered abroad, and there's sheep everywhere. There's at least one somewhere. But it's like, it's all for that to go. He woke you up to go find your brothers and sisters, so don't get tired. And I'm saying this even to myself, because I've been tired, because I'm just like, damn, I'm talking to this. It's like again talking to different people, but talking to the same person at the same time. But it's really the spirit that's in them, because they don't have the spirit of truth, so they have whatever the antichrist spirit of error if they're not keeping the commandments and things like that. And even in the Torah movement, it's no better. They're just as hard-hearted and prideful, if not sometimes even worse. But I don't know, I hope this encourages a woman to just keep fighting, for the good news. Keep fighting for his name's sake. Know that there is a reward waiting for you if you keep doing your part in the body, and just, being his good and faithful servant. Because that's what it's all about at the end of the day, is being his servant, being faithful to him, and doing what he's required of you. Like, oh man, he showed you what's good. Micah 6:8, like it says. And then just like the blessing, it's like, also think about the kingdom, like how it's gonna be. But it's like, ultimately, the ultimate blessing though is him and Yeshua. I mean, just like, I don't know, like things like that is what encourages me. Because some days it's like, not that I want to actually stop, but some days I get really tired, because it's like, oh my goodness, like these people. And it could get depressing. It can get depressing when you think about what could happen to these people if they don't repent, and what's coming. Ash is coming, but like tribulation's coming soon, and what will be it's gonna be bad. Okay. And that's what, I actually cry for people now. Like, I actually mourn. Before I wasn't, but now this year is especially has been really heavy. But I don't know, like, that's why I have to have that joy. And the joy is ultimately knowing his truth, being set free, having the spirit of truth dwelling within you, having that second comforter, to help you to keep going and keep sharing your light with other people, sharing that truth with not your truth, but his truth with other people. That's the joy, even if they may not receive it. And I know it's hard to, and for me personally, it's hard to be joyful when people are rejecting. But remember, they persecuted the prophets in the same way. And it should give you encouragement in the sense, like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. So keep fighting. Keep going. Yah's got you. Just keep listening to him. Another thing that could encourage you is Romans 8, because that's written to those who love him and are loving their neighbors as themselves.